Hello, greetings, and welcome. The sun is shining, actually, amazingly. That's weird because it's also raining. And the magpie is casting. Coming at you guys today with a live 1 versus 1 battle. That's right, fresh from the live game lobby, featuring, spawning in the east, it's going to be the United Kingdom forces of Royalhants. And spawning in the west, it's going to be the Wehrmacht forces of Versat Eiwalter, which is actually a suitably German-sounding name there. Versat's going to go ahead and choose his commander straight off the bat, and this is going to influence the flavour of the game quite significantly, because of course, he's gone for Ostruppen Doctrine. So that enables him to call in at 0 command points the weak but numerous Ostruppen squad, so we're up to 3 of those already. This is going to be, pardon me, quite the rapid opening for the Wehrmacht player here. For Hans, seemingly, we've got a Vickers first, which kind of looks a little bit underwhelming when you consider the opposing forces already on the field. But yeah, we've got a Vickers first. Of course, the squad of Tommies out here, they're going to make contact with these Ostruppen, and the gig is now up. Royalhants knows now what he's facing. So we'll see what he's able to do. Hang on a second, did those Ostruppen just outshoot those Tommies? They kind of did if you look at the health on the 2 units. Wow, crazy stuff. Anyway, here comes a Vickers gun. That's going to get deployed in some light cover here at the back, and it's going to capture both squads of Ostruppen in its arc. Versat Eiwalter taking no chances. He's going to fall back the squad that was getting caught badly and flank the other one out to annoyingly decap a point. Of course, the point that Versat would really like to grab is this one because it's the cut-off point, but right now it's actually not even cutting anything off. Oh no, Royalhants. I dare say he thinks these guys are capturing. There we go, he realises. That's very frustrating. Happens to me from time to time. Sometimes your units just hug some cover and step just outside of the line where the capture zones begins. The capture zone begins, sorry.
Infantry squad trained and ready to go.
So, let me crack the tack. Whilst these 2 forces deploy around the field, I will apologise. Now, I know I said at the end of the AlcoCast Part 2 that there would be a Part 3 coming, and that was genuinely the plan. However, I think I must have gone to the kitchen and, made myself a snack, probably had another beer, and then, I don't know, basically, I ended up getting, completely sidetracked, and I just didn't come back. So, really sorry for that. I don't know, it's probably safe to say I lack discipline when I've had that much to drink. But you know, maybe we'll do another AlcoCast when I get to 100 subscribers. That'll be cool. I don't know. That is assuming you guys enjoyed it at all. But the response I got from some people seemed to be fairly bemused. Just having a sip on my tea here. So, a couple of squads of Ostruppens, they're going to come in, force the Vickers gun back. These Tommies in heavy cover, they're going to trade quite well, but there are 2 squads of Ostruppen hitting them, so he's going to have to pay attention to when he loses models off this squad and get them out of there. My goodness, look, they're down at 33% health, but still not a single Tommy is there. We go. Finally, the first Tommy goes down. But this is a decent concave of Lee Enfields here, and even 10 Ostruppen, I don't know if they can handle it. Royalhants has gone for the 5-man squad upgrade, so 25 fuel has gone into that. That's going to delay his platoon command post a bit, but that's acceptable, as long as you're able to hold up the front. Now, 3rd squad of Tommies joining this fight, this 2-man squad, they've got to think about retreating soon, but they're still contributing good damage, and in heavy cover, they're only getting whittled down quite slowly. Vickers' gun comes forward, going to capture a point, gets set up in an okay location, not really any enemy units in its arc. Here comes another squad of Ostruppen just piling in. How many squads are we up to now? 6? My goodness, this is like actual swarm tactics right now. Conscripts, eat your heart out, because Ostruppen be cheaper and, you know, swarm in the field right now. Vickers' gun's going to redeploy now. It's finished capturing. The Axis player has created something of a ticket lead. Of course, he's been holding 2 points to 0 most of this time, so he finds himself coming up to being 50 points ahead. Ostruppen going to try and take the fight against these Tommies in mid. They're going to need some help to do so, of course, but actually look at how well they trade in heavy cover against Tommies. Quite reasonably, because bear in mind, Ostruppen cost, what, 200? Yeah, and Tommies are 280. So the Ostruppen are actually ferociously efficient, despite the fact that they are kind of, in inverted commas, losing every fight. They're probably actually trading up in terms of value. And also, I mean, if I crack the tack, look how many squads the Axis player has. He's got 4 back at base reinforcing rearming. He's got 3 out on the field, and the British player only has 4, 5 squads to deal with all of this. 4 of Tommies now. They're at 5 man, so they're quite spicy, and that Vickers gun, which has not actually really done that well. Surprisingly, really, he'd love to get it into a building like this, or something where it can just stay put and hose down large relevant areas of the map. But he's not really been able to find a place like that, and right now it's just kind of on camping duty, which kind of feels a little bit forced actually, because I think he realizes he's beginning to fall behind as Royalhants, and he needs to do something about that. Now these Tommies are basically idle. They could push up. I suppose there's. Well, they're only pioneers in this building, you know. You could push the Tommies to about here and start taking some shots. Get these guys to here, start taking some shots. Going to whittle them down. These Tommies going to grab the munitions point, but there's a run by of Ostruppen coming through here, and they're going to try and decap the fuel point, which is frustrating for the British player. He's behind enough as it is in terms of resources. He doesn't want to fall any further behind. Let's check the tech quickly for the Wehrmacht player. Sorry, a fight was taken in the north. That's just too many Ostruppen for a single Vickers gun to contain, so the Vickers gun is going to fall back. The teching for the Wehrmacht player, he's not even gone to Battle Phase 1. Wow, he's placing like 132 fuel. I would love to see him go to Battle Phase 1. It worries me that he hasn't, because I believe without that he doesn't even have Panzerfaust active. No, he doesn't, so the British player might not know it yet, but a universal carrier could have been really spicy this whole time. So anyway, looks like we got a fight in mid. The Flame Pioneers are going to be forced out by a couple of squads of Tommies firing from long range. These Tommies are actually in negative cover and being focused on by the Ostruppen a little bit, so they need to be careful. Hans needs to just pay attention to this squad. Just pack him into this light cover here, that'd be great. Okay, instead he's going to fall them back, which is probably fine, but it doesn't represent quite so much value for money. Royal Engineers are on the field. That indicates that the platoon command post is complete for the British forces, so the 5-man Boys from Wales squad is going to look to try and redress the balance of power in the north of the map. Now there are a number of Ostruppen squads up there, so that's going to be difficult. Constantly cycling his Ostruppen squads is Eiwalter, and it seems, no, he's building his infantry company. He has not gone to Battle Phase 1. This is just confusing me right now. I mean, I'm sure he knows what he's doing, but, well, anyway, so he's built his infantry company, and this is usually the building that players who go for the Ostruppen commander like to skip. Of course, if you skip that, go to Battle Phase 1, build your Leichter Mechanized company. That means that you can then build pack guns, half-tracks, 222 scout cars, and Panzer Grenadiers, who are really the perfect complement to the Ostruppen forces in the late early game and early mid game. Now, the best Ostruppen commanders that I've seen play, they tend to then go back and build the infantry company at a later point in the game so that they can make use of grenadiers, most notably mortar squads and the occasional sniper. I can hear a Vickers gun opening up. Here it is. This is a great position for the Vickers gun. It's in heavy cover. It's covering this like choke point, and units will only see this Vickers gun as they enter its arc, so no chance really to react from the Axis forces. So that's a pretty spicy position. Now, of course, it can be flanked if you, well, let me show you. It can be flanked if you get some units and run them around the south here. So we'll see if the Axis player decides to do that. However, the Vickers gun may well have moved by the time any forces are in position to try and maneuver like that.
Infantry ready to spot and attack nearby enemy vehicles.
Oh my bleeding on! We're the
Ready
Brits!
to go.
Gotta love some of the voice acting that the British forces have been blessed with. First of the Tommy squads, now up to 2 stars of veterancy. What does that actually give them? Let's have a look. Improves survivability, so that will be totally relevant. That will allow them to trade far more efficiently against the Ostruppen forces. Bear with me for 1 second.
We're losing a capture point.
So we've got a squad of Ostruppen in this building. I really think that Versat needs to diversify his build. Relying on Ostruppen is absolutely fine in the early game, but we're kind of entering like the early mid game now, and he just doesn't really have very much like diversification. Okay, finally an MG42 has been added. That's going to deploy a negative cover. Not sure about that. Going to start putting some pressure on these Tommies, but he's already lost a man on that squad. There we go. The suppression comes down, and that is now totally useful. There are some Tommies over here, but they will also be in the arc, so this is not too bad of a position if you take it low, except for the negative cover. That's annoying. And Ostruppen going to look to, to take back the middle here and the south. The Axis player ahead right now at 463 over 389, so the British player has begun to fight back a little bit on the points there. MG42 gets set up in a fantastic position here. 2 squads of Tommies, well contained in the arc, and they're going to have to fall back. You have to think that they're not going to be able to take this fight. Let me just check the tech here for the Axis player. Finally, he's gone to Battle Phase 1. He's building his Leichter Mechanized company, and Battle Phase 2 is on the queue. So So the Axis player kind of alleviating my concerns that he was neglecting his teching. I still think he neglected it a little too long, because if you consider these fights, the way the Ostruppen are taking these fights, they keep the Tommies engaged in a prolonged rifle war, which the Tommies will eventually win because they're more efficient, right? But if you're committing your foe to a fight like that, a squad of Panzer Grenadiers running up can just completely skew the balance. I mean, because all the Tommies are then forced to focus that. That is if the player is paying any attention. But if you've got a blind flank, or so your opponent didn't see it, or if they weren't paying attention, the Panzer Grenadiers will just absolutely wipe the floor with squads of Tommies that are entrenched against Ostruppen. And at the very least, it buys the Ostruppen a lot of time, where the Tommies are firing at the Panzer Grenadiers and not the Ostruppen. And that's probably enough to swing it, because the Ostruppen are actually incredibly efficient when they're trading in cover against Tommies. Anyway, a commander has been chosen for Royalhants, and he has gone to go for the Special Weapons Regiment. Now, I like this commander. It's one that I have on my roster. You can see he's got the anti-tank boys squad here with the... So it's a squad of Tommies with two 55 caliber boys anti-materiel sniper rifles equipped. Can be pretty spicy. If I decide to use these, I tend to use them in multiples, like 3 of them or something, because with 3, that's 6 AT rifles. That pretty much just says no to anything beneath a tank coming near it, and even like a Panzer IV or something, they can plink down surprisingly quickly. British forces making a concerted effort to capture the south. There's no Axis resistance down there, and Royalhants is beginning to turn the tide. If you look at the map, things are beginning to turn, I mean, there's considerably more blue territory here than red territory at the moment. So things are beginning to go well. The Axis lack of tech beginning to sort of be felt. So we're going to need to see some tech choices come out from the Axis player if he's going to want to, if he's going to be able to take the power back, which well, he's going to have to do. So Tommy squads pushing up all over the map. 5 squads of Tommies against 6 squads of Ostruppen now. So the British infantry is beginning to fire on all cylinders. Of course, they do have the 5-man squad upgrade. They've had that all game. Medkits across every single squad as well. Vickers K is beginning to be put down, which means, of course, that the reinforced half-track is on the field for the British player. Now, I love this unit. It's super affordable at, like, what, 30 fuel or something? Yeah, and 270 manpower. And you get a half-track, like a regular half-track, which you can just use to reinforce your units, which, by the way, a tremendous luxury for the British forces. They don't normally get a mobile reinforce point, so choosing this commander with access to that half-track is a game-changer for the British forces. Allows you to do stuff you could not do otherwise, and this is the main reason I choose this commander. But not only that, for only the usual munitions cost of about 60, 60 and 40 for a Piat, this reinforcing half-track can in fact deploy weapons for your infantry units, and that's why we see a Vickers K gun on this Tommy squad. They've had 60 munitions spent on them, and they've been able to pick up the Vickers K. Now, in my experience, I would say that the Vickers K less efficient than the Bren gun. It's just got less poke and less devastating power, but it is better at short range, and it's also better, I think, being fired on the move. And it is pretty devastating, but the most significant thing, of course, is you can give your Tommies the Vickers K without having to fall back to cover. Wow, 5 squads of Ostruppen engaging in a prolonged Daka fest with Tommies in heavy cover. 1 squad of Tommies are forced back. The remaining Ostruppen just blasting into this squad. Let's keep an eye on how many kills. 14 kills for this squad. One of the Ostruppen squads falling back. A little bit premature, you have to feel. 4 man, still 2/3 of the health on that squad. These Tommies have got to get out now. This is too many rifles, and they're going to do it. Now, he could have focused for a squad wipe here. I feel like moving these Ostruppen was premature. I would have let them stay still for their rate of fire and accuracy when standing still, and tried to get a squad wipe on those Tommies, because that would have been pivotal. However, somewhere on the map, a squad of Tommies has been lost. We're down to 4 now. I'm afraid sorry I missed that. Panzer Grenadiers are coming out. In the north, we've got some Royal Engineers capping ground. A bit of a fight going on here as we have a squad of Flamer Pioneers. Now, they're going to get the crucial decap point. The resources for the British player have just been slashed. They're somehow still ahead if you look at the bottom of the screen. These Pioneers are going to have to get out. The machine gun on this half-track, not particularly good, but it does contribute to fights. And here comes a load of Ostruppen. Now, the boys' 55 caliber sniper rifles are firing at these Ostruppen, but they ain't no snipers, so it's not gonna. It sounds the same as a sniper firing, but it isn't. You're not going to see quite the rate of kills. And wow, these Ostruppen are now standing in negative cover. The truck that they were behind has been destroyed. They're going to have to fall back. The half-track Tommies going to be enough there. Now the British player needs to get this command point back under control, because this is costing him a lot of resources right now. He'd be really far ahead if it wasn't for that.
New machine gun crew ready and waiting.
2 squads of Ostruppen going to start chewing up ground in the north. No allied resistance in the north, and Versat Eiwalter for the Axis forces beginning to take the power back a little bit here. Deploying a few weapons. There's a few Vickers Ks on the floor here for these Tommies. They're going to get nice and spicy. Listen to that sheer rate of fire on those bad boys. Just hosing down the building there, the church there, just being riddled with bullets. The Vickers K, of course, was the much more contemporary modern machine gun. Almost the sort of World War II offering from the Vickers company. And yeah, that was quite a beast. It utilises the top-loading drum magazine. So it kind of looked a bit weird as well, the little saucer on top of it. So, let's take a look at the scoreline here. 428 for the Axis player, 354 for Royalhants and the Allies. Hants at the moment trying to assault the centre of the map. He's also got a couple of squads looking like they might move south, but nothing in the north. The north of the map is totally in Axis hands right now. If we take a look at the army supplies, it's 46 for the Axis player, 62 for the Allied player. Panzer IV, the tech of choice. That'll be coming in about a minute here for Versat Eiwalter. And that, I mean, there's only really a 6-pounder on the field at the moment in terms of proper anti-tank. The boys' 50 cal sniper squad, they will help, but not that much. Wow, these Ostruppen are just trading super effectively here. Panzer Grenadiers here, they're going to be forced back. Again, seemingly a little premature. I don't know what caused that kind of a fallback there. Still 3 men and a good amount of health on that squad. Ostruppen still doing work in the north, but these Tommies in heavy cover actually getting a lot of work done. Mowing down falling back infantrymen there. So that's a good position actually. What the? Did they fall back? Oh no, sorry, they just got in the building. Right, sorry, I just came back and there's like some smoke and a dead Tommy and I thought, have I just missed another squad wipe? So MG42 gets set up. Now this is a fantastic position for an MG42, and for my money, this is a fantastic position for a Vickers. I don't know why he doesn't put the Vickers in here. Of course, the Vickers now has 1-star veterancy, so it would have the 25% extra range. That would probably enable it to dacker down this MG42. Let's check the range on the MG42. See, I don't think that that's in range of this building, but the Vickers would be able to fire back. So anyway, here comes a Panzer IV. It's going to get into a decent position, start hooning some shells into these Tommies. Wow, that did some good damage on the first shell there. Needs to get the MG42 pintle mount upgrade. That has not been taken. 400 munitions floating for the Axis player, so I can only assume that that's a mistake or he's forgotten. Ostruppen going to be grabbing the victory point in the south, and the victory point gap right now 63 tickets, so not as much as you might think. The victory points, the capture points on the map have been exchanging hands pretty frequently, so a Cromwell is the choice, and remember, a Cromwell pretty much just beats a Panzer IV. It's a much better tank, especially if it has the Panzer Commander. There's no choice, sorry, the Tank Commander. There's no difference. So look here in the bottom right, just to make sure that Royalhants does remember to get that Tank Commander. The Panzer IV is going to redeploy into the south of the map to meet the majority of the British forces. Now, these Tommy squads, the Tank Hunter Tommies, are getting blasted here, but they do have an anti-tank grenade that they can use. It's similar to a conscript anti-tank grenade or something like that. So that's a real thing that can happen. Now the 6-pounder is kind of exposed here. The Tommies have line of sight, and they, if they're clever, will take it out. Now he's going to see the Cromwell here, and the Panzer IV could swing into the rear armour if it comes around here. It's risky, but it's definitely possible. Is he going to move the Panzer IV? Where it is terrible. It's just got its back exposed to the enemy. Panzerfaust are going to come down into the Cromwell, but and then a mass fallback. So I really feel like Versat Eiwalter could have done a lot better there. What he needed to do was focus the 6-pounder and bring the Panzer into the rear armour. No! Oh, this is how you lose a Panzer IV. This is some chronically awful positioning. Oh, dearie me. Oh dearie me, Axis commanders, how are we so bad at Panzer IVs these days? I mean, that Panzer IV was sat here facing the wrong way, idle for a long time whilst there was a fight going on right next to it, and now it's just going to be found and picked off by the superior Cromwell. That is quite the turn here for Royalhants, and hopefully he'll sense blood in the water and begin to push on all fronts, because he definitely has the upper hand now. 73 supply over 49, and he's taking ground in the south, he's taking ground in the north. Here comes the Ostruppen wave. And they're going to find some Tommies here. These Tommies are going to either need some help or going to have to get out, because this is 4 squads of Ostruppen with varying styles of veterancy. And these are just 4 Tommies left now. As I have another sip on my tea. Looks like a Panzerfaust has been able to take out the engine on the reinforced half-tracks, and Royal Engineers going to tend to that. These Tommies have finally been forced back. The Ostruppen doing good work, 2 of them up to 3-star now actually. And Ostruppen at 3-star are nearly as good as Grenadiers at 0-star. Like, no, not quite, but nearly. You know, they're like actual infantry who you can rely on and use in a fairly normal fashion. Vickers gun gets set up, gets a lot of Ostruppen in its arc. The Cromwell also doing fantastic damage, but another Faust coming down. And this Cromwell's actually quite wounded and doesn't have a lot of health left. An artillery call-in going to be used on the 2 weapon teams here, and that's got to be the railway artillery, of course. So 3 shells coming. Let's see if we get a good hit. Seemingly the British player Royalhants did not notice. Here it comes. Oh no, he's going to move now. Oh, it's too late! And that's the double squad wipe. Bullseye! Versat Eiwalter will be pleased with that one. And the next shell's going to destroy the 6-pounder, so no chance for a salvage there. And another Panzer IV is coming, so with slightly better attention and micro, Versat can definitely take this wounded Cromwell, which has not been repaired. These Royal Engineers need to get back over here and repair that. So, that was quite the turnaround as well. So the British force is going to be needing to invest in some more anti-tank, although it seems like Tommies are the choice right now. Both players flat out of manpower, spending proficiently and on time at the moment. I hope there's not a queue for reinforcements at the base. Hardly, just. It's when you don't have enough manpower to reinforce your squads that things start getting really bad, of course. Rarely do we see that being the case, though. And a Vickers gun in a really weird position. Gonna kind of get set up. The Ostruppen see it, though. It's gonna turn. No, it's gonna try and get out. As Ostruppen start plinking it down. Here comes the reinforced half-track just to give this its 4th man back. And if they just deploy in this soft cover here... Okay, they're going to deploy in the open. I think deploying in the soft cover here is a lot better. So let's take a look at the scoreline now. 387 for the Axis player, over 295 for the Allied player. So the Axis is beginning to pull ahead again. Capturing the southern victory point right now will continue that. There are some mines placed here. Those look like Axis mines to me. Those look like the anti-tank telemines. So an attempt there to curtail the Cromwell that's on the field. The Panzer IV comes out. Still no MG42 forthcoming. He doesn't actually have the munitions for that right now. And a big move out of Conscript coming out here into mid. There's a 3-star squad of Tommies in the church, but that might not be enough. Here's the Cromwell. It's going to commit here. The Panzer IV needs to join this fight. Why is it... Okay, so the correct move here is to reverse to here and then come in frontal armor this way. That's the correct move, but what is he doing with this Panzer IV? It needs to be helping against the Cromwell. I mean, you could even try and be super cheeky, come around here, drive down here, and get the rear armor shots, but that's risky because you've no idea what's going on out here, and there could be a boys equipped Tommy squad with the anti-tank grenade, and that would be a Panzer lost, basically. Because of course the engine would get broken, and then the commander-equipped Cromwell would deal with it. Oh no, the Panzer IV, what are you doing? What are you doing? Your opponent's going to come from this direction, matey, so you want the front armor facing here. Dearie me. Panzer IV gets away with it this time, but if that Cromwell felt like chasing, that could have... what? He's just going to leave it here facing the wrong way? Versat Eiwalter, your infantry micro has been very good. You've kept 6 squads of Ostruppen alive from the very start. In fact, you know what? I'm not sure I've seen you drop an infantry squad yet. That's very impressive, and not something that I can very often do. But I have to say, your Panzer micro needs a little attention. These Panzers have basically been in the wrong place most of the time and facing the wrong way most of the time. Also, the MG42 upgrade has not been forthcoming. Now, I can understand why in this case you might not want to have the MG42 upgrade because you're low on munitions, but the previous Panzer IV should definitely have had one. According to me, anyway. That's only the Magpie analysis, and I'm not the god of this game. I'm just frequently mistaken for it. No, really. So, this Vickers gun here, I reckon he wants to get that Vickers gun into this church. The church can accommodate 2 units, and it's still at pretty high health. Grenade's going to come down. That was, I think, a pineapple, so that indicates that pineapple research... Yep, he's researched the Mills bombs from his HQ. Let me just take a look and see if he's gone for any kind of hammer and or anvil tech. Neither of those forthcoming just yet. Of course, going for the hammer tech lets you throw the gammon bombs, so that could be useful. MG42 still doing work in this very good position. These Tommies were capturing, but they're now pinned. Here come the Ostruppen on mop-up duty. So these, yep, there we go. Tommy's going to have to get out of there. Vickers gun finally finds itself in the correct building, and I reckon it should be able to... It's facing the wrong way, which is a bit suspect, but it should be able to get some work done from there. Panzer IV is going to fall back. It seems like it's taken some damage. That'll be why there's a 6-pounder out here, so wisely backing up in the face of the AT gun. Now, Cromwell's going to come forwards into mid. It's going to challenge this MG42, and you've got to think it'll be able to take it out in short order. The Axis player has to think about moving it, and he will. Panzer Grenadiers do have Panzer Shreks, and that appears to be the anti-tank of choice. They're going to get into the building. Double Shrek's going to slam into that Cromwell. And that puts the Panzer Grenadier squad up to 2 stars. Every star of veterancy crucial on those Panzer Grenadiers. That's going to give them increased survivability and weapon control. And then finally they get weapon accuracy at veterancy 3. Now when you're dealing with a 2 Panzer Shrek unit, that really starts paying off. You know, every hit from the Shreks is critical. Now, the Panzer Grenadiers going to get the hell out of there. I'd love to see him get another squad of Panzer Grenadiers, actually. He even has the manpower right now and the munitions to upgrade them with an additional set of Panzer Shreks, because then I think he'd really have enough anti-tank to start really challenging that Cromwell. Anyway, Cromwell is being repaired in just short of mid, and the Panzer IV being repaired just kind of up in north. So we could see a tank battle coming soonish. 4 kills on the Panzer IV, about a third of a level of veterancy. The Cromwell's on 2 stars at the moment. So the 2nd star gets it, improved main gun targeting and rate of fire. I see. I always review the veterancy abilities that I'm not sure of, just because it's useful to be able to tell at a glance and think to yourself, okay, that enemy unit has like extra accuracy, or oh wait, if I get my unit up another level, it'll be even more durable. You know, it just helps to be able to know what these stars are doing, rather than just sort of being like, ooh, stars are good, because some of the veterancy levels are actual game changers. I can hear railway artillery. Follow the shadow, follow the shadow, follow... Oh, it's coming down on the church! Boom! Smashing the building there. Boom! Now the British player, Royalhants, was able to get all of his infantry out of there. They're all going to be fine. But the fire position here for the for the Allied player, no longer going to be an option. The Panzer Grenadiers are advancing on this Cromwell, who needs to GTFO. There we go, he's going to start backing up. Not a lot he can do. I mean, it can whittle down these Panzer Grenadiers, but it's never going to trade effectively against an elite infantry squad with 2 Panzer Shreks. MG42 coming on into a good position, going to catch these Tommies in its arc. In fact, this is the 2nd MG42, overlapping fields of fire here for the Axis player. And that's pretty intimidating. Now, the Panzer IV, there's 2 Panzer IVs on the field. Wow, sorry. So 1 in south, 1 in north. I quite like this. Look at this positioning, though. Versat Eiwalter, this is no good. This is no good. Whoops, I just accidentally took a screenshot. If I turn on Fog of War, look, this is what he can see. A 6-pounder could just start firing out into its rear armor. A Cromwell, 2 Cromwells could come out the Fog of War. For all he knows, this is just this is a liability right here. So Axis players, please take note. Never leave your Panzer IVs against Fog of War, and and just never leave them with the rear armor facing Fog of War. Anyway, Mills Bomb going to be used to take out a machine gun crew here, and that was an attempt to salvage a Vickers from the Allied player. Wow, these Pioneers going to bravely man the Vickers and start doing heavy damage to the 3-star Tommies. Of course, the Vickers gun at this sort of range really doesn't take prisoners. The DPS is intense, to put it mildly. Panzer IV here, going to fall back and repair. I'm guessing it was done in by snipers, possibly a little battle with this Cromwell, possibly having a go at this 6-pounder. This Panzer IV, again, it's just idle, it's sitting around, it's not doing a lot. You know, this is, basically. It's like, it's almost stressing me how bad that Panzer IV is being right now. Anyway, Mills Bomb's going to come out onto the Ostruppen. Boom! They're going to get blown up. 1 Ostruppen is left from the squad. He's going to do a run for it. The sniper, 55 caliber snipers on that Tommy squad, going to have a go at him, but he's going to be able to get out. 3-star Ostruppen squad, going to survive to fight another day. Cromwell's going to be deployed into mid here, and the Panzer IV is going to come into backup. We need some Panzerfaust to come in off these Ostruppen. Now, again, this is very suspect. You need to rotate the Panzer IV if you're going to try and take this fight. Taking a fight with side armor is never going to work. Oh my goodness, you see, this is not how you trade. And it's all down to the angling on this Panzer IV. Oh, he needs to get out. Now, the Cromwell could decide to chase, but it's not going to. It definitely could have chased there for a kill. But Hans going to play it cautiously. Now, here comes the feared Crocodile Churchill. And this is the real late-game brawler for the British forces. This one is intimidating to deal with. I mean, it comes to something when, you know, a heavy tank is the hard counter to your opponent's anti-tank guns. This thing just eats up pack guns for breakfast. And I don't think 2 Panzer IVs is going to be enough AT to deal with this. Now, I don't know where he deployed the flares, because of course when you call in the Crocodile, you call it in with some kind of spotting flares, and that's usually a real telltale sign for the Axis player that, oh my goodness, a Crocodile is coming. Now, I don't know where he deployed those flares, so I don't know if Versat Eiwalter is expecting this Crocodile, but you kind of have to consider from the clustering on this infantry that he was not expecting the Crocodile. Oh my goodness, horrendously burninating this MG squad. They're going to have to try and get out, but they're not going to be able to. They get devastated. The Cromwell comes in for added damage, and this kind of looks like a battle right now that Royalhants is beginning to break through. He's beginning to run away with this. A 3-star squad of Ostruppen go down. There's only 4 squads of those guys on the field. The manpower right now for Versat flatlining a little bit, so he also needs to repair his Panzer IV. That's very weak. The other Panzer IV idle at the moment, so yeah, I would say just not being active enough with the Panzer IVs, really. Here comes a railway artillery. I believe it was called in around here. You can follow the shadows. Like, see the shadow here. There it is. Boom. Yeah, so called in on the victory point. The Royal Engineers, they're going to be repairing all of these tanks, the Cromwell, the Crocodile, all being repaired right now. But the main problem... Okay, here comes a pack gun. That's going to be useful. I think deploying it behind this wheelbarrow might be best, sort of just facing into mid. I mean, it would have a decent arc there. This is okay here, but of course it has no cover there. Cromwell's going to come in and take a dive against this Panzer IV. It's at 3-star, the Panzer IV is at no star, so that's kind of a dive it can quite happily take. The other Panzer IV looking to come across and help, but that one's wounded and still being repaired, so only just up to half health. Of course, Fermac Pioneers, the repair rate on those guys, pretty much the slowest or joint slowest in the game. This Panzer IV is going to come forward. I don't like this at all. I think he needs to get out. This Cromwell will quite happily take it. It has superior rate of fire, accuracy, penetration, and it also has better armor at this stage, I believe. Okay, I think it may not have better armor. That maybe is one disadvantage over the Panzer IV. Not sure on that though. Pack gun in a decent position. Going to start taking some shots into the Crocodile. Boom, that was a good hit. So Crocodile going to have to be careful there, but it can easily flank round or try coming in from different... In fact, you know what? It's got enough health and armor that it can just take him to the front. Anyway, Panzer IV is going to be picked off by this Cromwell. Cromwell finds itself down at half health. The other Panzer IV is going to be sent into chase. Here comes a call in. That's going to be the concentrated fire operation. So this is pretty risky stuff, and the pack gun sees it and moves. Is it too late? Time will tell. MG42 likewise going to just fall back. Boom! Heavy shells coming in. Railway artillery, eat your heart out. Seems like the British can compete in the heavy artillery stakes as well. Crocodile's going to get stuck in at the north here, and I kind of just feel like everything's falling apart right now for the Axis player. He doesn't even have the solace of having more victory points than his opponent. All three of them now in British hands. Tickets right now, 339 for the Axis against 91 for the Allied player, so he has some time to make something happen, but I just don't know what he can try for. I mean, he's at 40 supply under 82. Here comes the plucky Panzer IV, but if that Cromwell's anywhere nearby, I can probably have that one. In fact, wait, the Crocodile finds itself with a broken engine. The Panzer IV could try and get into the rear armor and make a play here. He needs to try and target the Crocodile, though. Ah, why is he fighting with the side armor again? This is crazy. So anyway, come on, need to push up. Pack gun is here. Here comes the Cromwell. That'll take care of the Panzer IV, you've got to think. But that still leaves a pack gun clinking. Boom! In fact, this might be a fight. The British armor is super weak, but there's a 6-pounder here at the back. The smoke shell is fired from the Cromwell. That's going to buy a bit of time for the Crocodile to get out. Now, here come the Panzer Grenadiers. They're at 3-star. They're firing Shreks into the flank of this Crocodile. A grenade comes out from these AT Tommies. And here's the final shots. The Crocodile is taken out. I can't believe it. Ah, Versat Eiwalter is able to take out the Churchill, and with that, he might actually be able to buy himself a bit of breathing room. I mean, it's not long till the next Churchill. I mean, actually, the next Churchill is restricted. Okay, 90 seconds till the next Churchill. It is simply a cooldown, a matter of cooldown on that. But he has bought himself a reprieve and an extended lease of life on this game, which I was sure he was out of. He's built another Panzer IV? Wow, I mean, surely you'd have thought a Stug would have been a better choice or something, because he already, I don't know, I feel like a Stug would be able to push the middle and just maintain control on this area by back and forwarding through this kind of area here really effectively. It would also have been cheaper. But, you know, going for another Panzer IV, fair enough. As I just finished my tea there. So let's crack the tack quickly, seeing as how we have somehow a moment of quiet. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units for the Axis player. This is a tall order right now. He's not getting very many resources. He's way behind on map control. He's way behind in units. He's way behind in tech. So this is going to be very difficult for Versat Eiwalter. He has bought himself a window here. And this Vickers gun is going to deploy in a super awkward position, actually. This is really susceptible to a possible Mills bomb from the British player, who has the munitions for it. I don't know what's... Oh, bundle grenade going to come out, but that's going to be a miss. Wow, 45 munitions. Very precious for the Axis player. Being spent for not much gain there. Here comes the Cromwell. Vaporizes the elite Panzer Grenadiers. They need to fall back. They desperately need to fall back. They're going to fall back. No more shots going to be forthcoming from the Cromwell, so the 3-star anti-tank unit should survive. If they'd have gone down there, that would have been a very big swing for the Allied player. And the pack gun here deployed in a good position, but it's now going to have to move, unfortunately, because these Tommies are here. In fact, no, here comes a couple of Panzer IVs. That's going to help out. How on earth does this thing count as being in heavy cover, by the way? There's like nothing there. That is kind of weird. Not sure about that. Is that just an advantage of pack guns? Are they just always in heavy cover? No, they're not. I'm super confused about that. Anyway, this Cromwell has paid for itself time and time again. 41 kills on that tank. Oh man, I love Cromwells. They're really good. And it's just going to come in and initiate with the help of a 6-pounder. It's going to eat these 2 Panzer IVs for breakfast. Look at the rate of fire on this thing. Look at the penetration. Look at the accuracy. Yeah, that was a 6-pounder which got the final hit. But look at this. Every shot this thing fires is just doing money against these Panzer IVs. Money hit again. The Panzer IV needs to try and play this at range. There we go, so that its better armour can bounce some of these shells. This pack gun also, there we go, cheeking in for damage, and he nearly got it, but the Panzer IV, it now has its extra armour, so that unit can actually start being pretty decent. He needs to buy at the MG42 upgrade though, because infantry are a real issue, and when you've got just one more lawnmower on your tank, you know, hooning out damage, it just helps, and it also gets the tank more veterancy, and you'd love to have 3-star. That's when the Panzer IVs get real fast in both rate of fire and mobility. So these Panzer, I'm not sure about taking a fight in negative cover at this range against the Royal Engineers. They need to fall back. This is expensive infantry that you're risking here. Uh-oh, I can't help but feel like the attention of Versat Eiwalter is elsewhere. These guys are in negative cover. Oh god, pull them back. They're just trying to Panzer Shrek the Royal Engineers at point blank. This is, oh no. Oh no, please don't get squad wiped on the retreat. Oh no, he drops a Shrek. The Royal Engineers, oh dear, you see now that was a needless loss obviously, and you've got to feel like Versat Eiwalter a little bit flustered right now. He calls down some railway artillery in a decent position, but there's just no targets remaining there anymore. Where's the shadow of this next shell? That's going there. He's managed to actually connect up a fuel point, and he's still got like some tickets to work with here, so you know, he's definitely making the most of the resources he has. Now these pioneers have got to repair the Panzer IV, there we go. I'm not sure I even like repairing it in this position, that's quite far forward, but you know, I mean, I guess he kind of needs the Panzer IV's guns right now as well, so it's difficult to know exactly where the best place to repair that is. Okay, so he manages to decap one of the victory points, but a couple of Tommy squads going to easily answer the Ostruppens that were doing that, and they're going to have to be forced to fall back. Not many squads here left for the Axis player. 43 supply under 80 for Royalhants, and I think it's probably just a matter of putting the finishing touches on here for Hans. But to his credit, Eiwalter is staying in the game. He's going to try and do what he can. He's even kind of decapping mid. This is going to significantly stem the bleed rate of tickets for him. British forces are capping the points in the north though, and that was the only resources that this Axis player, Versat Eiwalter, has seen for some time. Here comes the Cromwell, 3 stars, fully repaired. It's going to get the jump on this Panzer IV. You've got to feel the pack gun is caught out in the open. Why is it not deploying? Panzer IV actually manages to engage at a really good angle with the pack gun. If that pack gun was firing, this could even be close. Is he going to get a shot? Nope. That is sad news for the Axis AT gun. And those pioneers, what are they doing? Are they going to run forward and try and challenge these Tommies? Apparently? I can't say I fully understand why these pioneers... There we go, they're going to fall back now. And we could see another Crocodile on the field. Seems like another Cromwell has been the choice though. This pack gun is actually doing pretty well. It's going to get taken out in just a second, but trading for great damage. The Panzer IV could get the finishing blow. Oh, an unlucky bounce there. And I think he could have chased there. I think that would have been safe. He would have taken 1 hit, 2 hits from the 6-pounder, but he can take that. Oh, I don't know about chasing now though. This is a bit late. Oh no, this Panzer IV will now be forfeit. It is now in spit roast configuration, trapped between 2 Cromwells with their extended rate of fire and accuracy. Oh dearie me. Oh dearie me. So making 3 stars just before it died, but no match for a brace of Cromwells, that Panzer IV. And with that, you have to think Versat Eiwalter has got to be, he's got to be out of this game. There's just no way. I mean, he's got 400 manpower to play with. He's got a little bit of munitions, but yep, there we go. He's going to call it there, and you have to feel for him. He was just out of the game at that point. I don't think there was any recourse to any further action. And wow, a pretty good game there from Royalhants, able to weather the early Ostruppen advances, and those Ostruppen really showing the strengths there. I mean, he had like 6 squads of Ostruppen in what felt like no time at all. They were capping the map everywhere. They were trading pretty efficiently with Tommies. They were really putting the pressure on. But I feel like Versat Eiwalter delayed his tech a little bit too late. The British forces were able to push back a little bit before he was able to come out with Panzer Grenadiers or tanks or anything like that. And then when those units did arrive, it seemed like the British forces just lined up sort of 1 unit ahead, you know, like the Panzer IV arrived, but only after an AT gun and a Cromwell was there. And, you know, so I just feel like the British forces kind of got a little bit ahead there and then just stayed on top for the rest of the game. Also, Royalhants' use of the Cromwells there was pretty good. They were mostly in the right places with the right facings at the right times, doing good damage. This Cromwell here, 47 kills. You know, you can never complain when a tank gets to that sort of level. So the spicy medium tank for the Brits there, really showing its workhorse qualities and just delivering the goods there. The Crocodile, kind of underwhelming, actually. And to his credit, Versat Eiwalter was able to take down the Crocodile, and that's quite the kill there. And I didn't think he'd be able to pull it off, so I'm quite impressed he was able to do that, in fairness. So, yeah, I believe that concludes this replay. Thank you very much for watching, and this is Magpie842, signing out for now.